Welcome back from the break. I'm Jessica Mendoza.
And I'm Terah Barrio. Jessica, we have been talking about March Madness so much, but we have to talk about the women's NCAA tournament that's going on.
Absolutely, and I think it's most important we talk about that 11 seed Missouri State. They've been having an amazing season so far, especially in this tournament, upsetting Iowa State and DePaul. I think it's really important that we talk about this women's tournament a little bit because it's just insane that they don't get as much attention as the men do.
Yeah, and speaking how you said they don't get as much attention, Oregon Ducks' Sabrina Nseku, who just, by the way, had her 18th triple-double, which is unheard of. I mean, there's no athlete in men's or women's who have had that yet. So they even say there's a player who wears the crown, it's Sabrina. So I really like how after the game she had that interview and she had mentioned it's not like she'll be noticed. So she pretty much called out every network who doesn't pay attention to women's sports. So props to her on that one.
Yeah, absolutely props. And props to the Oregon Ducks. They're one of the only schools that have the men's and women's team still in the Sweet 16. So gotta say, go Ducks there. But to continue on basketball news, 6'9" forward Zoe Tyson announced his decision to transfer from the CSU men's basketball program just last week. In addition, guard Anthony Maston-Bonner and forward Dion James have been added to the list of upperclassmen looking to transfer. Now, all three of these players were recruited by former coach Larry Eustace. With this past season being Nico Medved's first year coaching a team that was created by a different coaching staff, all eyes were on how the team would handle the change. Before the season began, Jason Ortiz and I asked the men how they felt about the dynamic of this new team. And Maston-Bonner and Tyson were especially positive about Medved. Whether their decision to transfer was influenced by coaching or not, these three may be just the beginning of the names to be in headlines for leaving this offseason. Tyson did not get a ton of playing time this season, but the Rams are losing significant size from their roster between James and Tyson. James measures in at 6'8", and in the 2017-18 season averaged a little over 10 points per game. However, looking at Medved's new recruits coming in for next season is 6'10" James Moores. Moores is from New Zealand and was previously committed to Drake while Medved coached there. His decision to follow Medved to Colorado is very telling of the influence that this coach can have on young talent. This power forward will be joined by another highly touted forward who may need to step into an open position next season, David Roddy. Roddy is from Minnesota and is another addition to size at an athletic 6'5". On the shorter end of size but taller end of scoring, Maston-Bonner is departing after 4 years and 3 seasons as a Ram. AMB averaged over 11 points per game last season with a season high of 26 against Fresno State. After the transfer news, Colorado State men's basketball team is carried on the backs of only Hiron Edwards, Sam Bannock, Kendall Moore, Logan Ryan, Chris Martin, Adam Thistlewood, Nico Carvacho, and Jack Schumann.
For the 5th consecutive week, the Colorado State's women's softball team has been awarded yet another Mountain West award. Junior Jessica Jarocki was given her second Mountain West accolade and was named Pitcher of the Week based on last week's performances. The Colorado native transfer from Chadron State was a large role in helping the Rams sweep New Mexico for the first time since 2013. Posting a 2.8 ERA, Jarocki allowed only 10 hits, 4 earned runs, including striking out 14 batters. And earlier today, the CSU softball team took on the UNC Bears in Greeley, Colorado, where they went into extra innings. The Rams were able to finish off the game with a win and a final score of 4-3.
Finally, Rams, it's time for this week's Disrupted Picks. So this week we have a question from Jason Ortiz who asks, is tanking disrespectful to the game? And you know what? I think he's really trying to get us out there today because when it comes to tanking, I say cut it out. Cut the tanking.
Yeah, seriously. I think it might be one of the most disrespectful things you can do, especially to the game and to your fans. I mean, your fans are paying so much money to come watch you play, and do they really want to see a half-played team? No, they want to see the team perform, and I think that's why a huge thing, and I know a lot of people argue this, is a lot of people like watching college sports better because they like the idea of people being more trying harder and working harder, and because they feel like once you get to the professional level, you don't have to try as hard, you don't have to do certain things because you're already there. But they're wrong. Like, the fans are there to watch them play, and I just think it's so disrespectful to be tanking and doing that.
Absolutely, and I really like your point about college athletics, but I also think it's really important that the NBA is trying to cut this down a little bit with the lottery. However, it's still not really changing a whole lot. There's still a lot of reasons why teams, if they aren't going to be on the playoffs, they just don't see a reason why they shouldn't tank, why they shouldn't be trying to lose these games to get those draft picks. And I can kind of understand why, because when you get those draft picks, a lot of teams come up from the bottom. They can come win a championship. With the NBA and the NFL, we have this great talent where, you know, these teams are really looking for these players, people like Zion, people like Tua Tagovailoa, like they really are looking to get these high draft picks, and they see that as the only reason why. So I think it has to come from the integrity of teams. And, you know, I think that's the only solution. There's not much the leagues can do.
Yeah, and I totally like how you brought up Tua, because there's that hashtag, and I know this has been the biggest controversy, and this is why tanking's kind of being brought up right now, is with the Dolphins, and there being a rumor that they're going to tank the season of this upcoming season so they can get that draft pick, so they can get Tua as their quarterback, because they're trying to build up their team. But there was an article that came out about how General Manager Chris Greer is trying to cut that rumor and say it's not happening. Like, we don't go for tanking. We don't go about that. So my question to you: do you agree with that?
Yeah, I definitely think that they are tanking. Of course, he's not going to come out and say we're tanking. Mavs owner Mark Cuban was fined $600,000 for telling his team that losing is our best option. And so obviously, I don't know why he admitted to that. I guess he does have some integrity there for admitting to it. Yeah. But I mean, I think the tanking has got to stop. They've got to cut it out. It's not fair to players or fans. It's just really got to stop.
Yeah, I totally agree. And hopefully that it's not true, and I'm hoping that the Dolphins aren't actually going to tank their season. Not saying that they're the best team in the NFL, but they definitely shouldn't be doing that. And,
you know, for another reason why not to do that, you never have any idea if that first pick or that draft pick is really going to be a bust or not. We've seen a lot of first top 10 picks be busts. So if you're going to tank your whole season away to get somebody, it's really going to be a waste for you.
Well, Ram fans, that is all we have for you this week. But for more sports updates throughout the week, be sure to head to thecollegian.com or follow us on Twitter at sports_CTV. I'm Terah Barrio.
And I'm Jessica Mendoza. But don't go anywhere, because coming up next is Entertainment with Jacob, and he has all you need to know about Ramfest.